Hello, and welcome to the We Are PoWEr podcast. If this is your first time here, the We Are PoWEr podcast is the podcast for you, your career, and your life. We release an episode every single Monday with listeners in over 60 countries worldwide, where you'll hear personal life stories, top-notch industry advice, and key leadership insight from amazing role models. As We Are PoWEr is the umbrella brand to Northern Power Women Awards, which celebrates hundreds of female role models and advocates every year. This is where you can hear stories from all of our awards alumni and stay up to date with everything MPW Awards and We Are PoWEr. I am delighted to welcome Amy Williams and Iwona Schmidt from Barclays and Bank of America, respectively. Or did I get that the wrong way around?
Might need a flip, but I'm sure we're interchangeable. I'm sure they'll never notice who turns up.
It's amazing this year because you are both our co-headline partners for the 9th Northern Power Women Awards. And the frenzy is building, isn't it? The frenzy is building.
Absolutely.
How is it at Bank of America and Barclays HQ? Everyone getting frock ready?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of chat like sequins, glitter, green, blue, red, gold. Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
Oh, right, okay.
We've got a huge amount of excitement, actually. Frocks, suits, the lot. Who's going to be sitting where? Who's going to meet who?
Well, one of the funniest things last year was when we launched our advocacy list, which Barclays were the founding partner of. Oh, my goodness. The WhatsApp group I had the male advocates in was one of the most hysterical groups. And before any of the other WhatsApp groups, because we put all of our finalists, all of our power lists, future lists, the game changers, all into WhatsApp group, our judges, just to chat. That's part of that. It's part of the networking. It's part of that community building. Yeah. And it was the advocacy, male advocacy group was the first group that broke the seal on the clothes discussion.
I love that.
I didn't know there were so many versions of Velvet. Amy Williams, Managing Director of Barclays, and Iwona Schmidt, as I introduced, as Managing Director of Bank of America. I am delighted to have known you for the last few years, but now, creating this co-headline, and I feel like we're becoming a little girl gang army, haven't we?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And you've both been to the awards you've been a couple of times, Amy. Yep. You've been a couple of times, and the COVID or the pandemic year, where we ridiculously tried to put 1,100 people into Zoom rooms to create viewing parties, which was absolutely, and it was at the start where we were all still got used to Zoom and stuff, but it was phenomenal. And our wonderful host, Nina Hussain, it was her first year of hosting. She always says that was one of her standout awards ever because of the detail that went into that. I said, also, yes, it was totally crazy. But yeah, how would you describe the awards? So people who are having those conversations, whether they're in your organisations, whether they're our finalists, listen to this, starting to get G'd up ready. How would you describe it?
Do you know what? I think there's two parts to it to me. On one hand, there's the excitement of the night. So I remember last year arriving and just walking through the underground car park, and there was already a buzz there, and people walking in, and then you walk in, and it's like arriving at a festival. There's so much energy, and what really stood out for me is the people greeting each other like long lost friends, the introductions. And it's just fantastic, right? And that goes back to the point that we talk about. It's not one night. It's about creating that network, that community, and sort of taking it forward from there. The other side that really stands out, it's just such an amazing event to celebrate people who are really moving the dial, changing things, being brave, and it's really empowering as well. And it's having that celebration, putting that spotlight on people that makes it so amazing. And then having such an enormous event in the north of England, it just makes it kind of even more special. So
hashtag the largest event celebrating gender equality in Europe. Just putting that out there.
The Oscars for gender equality in the north. Honestly, the feeling when you walk in it is nothing but pure magic. And Iwona, you're absolutely right. The fact that everyone there is unified by a single purpose, which is to celebrate, nurture, foster gender diversity and inclusion in the north of England. That is what we're all to show up for, and celebrating the people that are really championing that from the forefront. So no matter if you're in competing industries, small business, medium business, working for yourself, working for a charity, that's what the awards night is about, which is an amazing unifying purpose.
And are there any standout moments that you've had from either the virtual or the in-person events, whether it be finalists, whether it be colleagues? Oh, Amy, you've got one, I can tell.
I did. Well, I've been sitting here sort of reflecting on doing the podcast today, Simone, and it's lovely to actually take a moment to reflect on previous years and relive the magic. For me, I'm going to pick a top three, which is very hard to choose from. Number one has got to be the Corinthians and their stage presence, which was utterly amazing. Like, what pioneers and what trailblazers.
So it was illegal, wasn't it, for women to play football?
It was. So actual lawbreakers for championing like gender diversity and inclusion. Amazing.
And they're now making a film about that.
Yes.
And one of the reasons they came to the awards last year was because I'd got good old LinkedIn, isn't it? The good old power of networking. I got a message to say, we want to tell a story about these amazing women. Is there any chance one of them could come along on the night? And I might bring them all. I said, bring them all, bring the whole team.
Amazing.
Because you're talking, some of them in their 80s, 90s here. Yeah. Bring them all. And we had them in all day. We had students from the Manchester College doing hair and makeup. The Manchester Central put on afternoon tea for them. They were absolutely just amazing, fun. I think they thought it was never going to end, But now for that film to be made, but you just never know. And they started singing. Do you remember they started singing?
And then that got the whole room up and singing, which was incredible. Other two highlights. So I was it was an honour to be a judge at last year's award, so on One to Watch, the fabulous Tasnim, who won that category for the work that she's done in the legal profession, which was just a mind-blowing story. And then it's got to be Dance Syndrome. Like the live performance we had, Simone, at the partners event after, where they had, again, everyone up on their feet celebrating inclusive and sort of equitable dance. And I thought the performances, the magic, the vibe, I thought that was amazing.
And recently, sort of at the end of last year, for those who don't know, I'm an honorary captain in the Royal Navy, and we had a big giant warship in HMS Prince of Wales, and Dance Syndrome got to perform on that warship because of the awards, because of that partner event. So sometimes, you have to be careful what you wish for, because you never know where it's going to go.
You'll be everywhere.
Any stand out for you, or any of those stories from individuals or quotes that you've picked up?
Do you know what? I thought about this quite a bit, and there were standouts, like the Corinthians were amazing. But to me, almost the standout was that there were so many amazing people, and that the broad range of achievements. So you had people who were standing up for female lawyers. You had individuals who were working with teaching children STEM. There was a lady who made wigs for cancer patients. It was the breadth and depth, and that's what I think was unexpected, but in a good way, and very inspirational, that you don't have to be in business, or you don't have to be working in a charity. It's everything. And then I think I love the power lists, because everyone's a winner, because everyone on the list is on the list. And I think, you've talked about the WhatsApp groups and the community. And I think that's the real, it's not, you don't just win on that one night. You don't just become part of a list on that night. That's the start of then a forever community.
Yeah, we're not for Christmas, That's not what it's about. And it's really interesting, actually. One of our advocates, we ask our partners like yourselves to be part of the mentoring program, because not only there's the WhatsApp groups, not only are the sort of pre-virtual events, but we also, everyone in the finalists gets the opportunity to be matched with a mentor as part of a 12-week mentoring program, because this is all about how do we enhance, how do we share those stories. And actually one of our advocates was a mentor this year, and I spoke with him recently, and he was like, I'm now in essence like a non-exec board director for this organisation. So it is amazing. I think there's no prescribed sort of route, or there's no prescription, is there, that comes with this. And with this, is this one of the reasons why you both wanted to kind of go, right, we're leaping into this co-headline partnership here, and we're going to play nice, and we're going to do great stuff together?
I'm totally right. I think we've got the benefit of having two hugely valuable global brands.
Yes.
And I think that the way that we can use that as a force for good to amplify talent in the North and what the Northern Power Women Awards are about, I think is phenomenal. It also, from a Barclays perspective, aligns really closely to our core values and our purpose as well. Driving an improved, like, diverse and equitable environment in the workplace globally for us is hugely important. And finding a way to celebrate role models and talent in the north of England that help drive that, specifically in this region, but with a global reach, really, really tightly couples with what we're about and what's important.
And yeah, both global brands. We've talked about this. Yeah, this is so important.
And I really agree, and it really resonates what you say. I think diversity and inclusion is so part of our DNA at Bank of America, and genuinely we believe we're a better company because we really pursue that. And we have lots of internal networks supporting women and allies. But actually, what drew us and what really wants us to support the awards is that, as Amy says, when you have a large brand like Bank of America and Barclays do, being able to put the weight of that brand and your resources behind something, I think adds so much strength and I think helps empower. And for us specifically at Bank of America, we've grown significantly in the region, in the north of England in the last 5 years. So we really want to focus, not just doing on our internal focus on internal diversity, but actually now paying it forward externally as well in the community. We really believe that wherever we have offices, we want to get involved in the community and make things better. And we think through this sponsorship, through this partnership, we can really do that.
And it's the start, isn't it? You know, and we've worked together, both organisations, for a number of years. And sometimes it's been a pinch me moment for me. Sometimes I think, gosh, and then I kind of stand up. I think, gosh, we're 10 years into Northern Power Women, and next year will be the 10th awards. This year is the 9th. Okay. You know, sometimes I was having this conversation recently over dinner, and it was like there was a point where I thought, are awards dying out? You know, is there a need for awards anymore? Because there's a lot out there. And I know when I first set the awards up, I was thinking, is this really needed? And it was the wonderful James Timpson, actually, who I spoke to. And I remember his advice to me was, do it your way. And I did that, and then probably add more ways on along and bells on along the way. But is there still, because there are so many different awards out there, and there's a lot of calls on your time and pockets and budgets and resource and people and colleagues and nominations, marketing departments. But why are awards important? You've talked about role models.
Yeah, it's simply a means to celebrate. I say simply, it's a means to celebrate and recognise unashamedly the pioneers out there. And I think without recognition of that and a cause to celebrate them, it's going to be really difficult to create more. Like this, the awards should create, and I know within Barclays it's created a ripple effect. So you sit up and you take notice. Like last year, we were really fortunate to have 5 of our colleagues on shortlists or on the power list, on the advocacy list, on the future list. And that sent a message internally to say, hey, we've got people that are out there driving change. It goes on our internal news boards, it goes in our internal recognition systems, and it causes a bit of a pause and reflect for, are we really doing all we can and should be doing to drive forward and create that sort of environment where people can thrive and we are really embracing inclusion and equity. But it's because we've done that celebration bit, I think, Simone. It's because we've recognised the people that are going above and beyond, driving change, and those allies that are supporting driving that change.
And I think the thing I see from both of your organisations, you've both got wonderful people, right? You know, you really do. And, you know, and of different levels, of different sectors, different backgrounds, different stories, stories, sectors, genders, everything along the way. And I've seen, there's particular on both sides that I've seen some of your younger women that are growing through, the wonderful Angeli, the wonderful Sinead. And, you know, that's awful. It's like picking my favourite child kind of thing. But, you know, there's people who've I've seen them grow and thrive and really want to jump on and drive this. It's not an ROI relationship like that. I guess it's kind of hard to measure, but I see it's your people getting involved. And when we sit around a table at Bank of America or Barclays with the gang, it's amazing because they all want to be part of it.
It is, and I think it has to become part of the DNA and the culture of a company. That you're not just coming into the office or working from home to do your job, to do your work, but actually it's about creating a community. It's about making things better. It's about inputting your views and actually driving change, and then importantly also taking that out to the community, because that's where you live and that you want to take all of that there. So we really want to encourage people to and the young people coming through to really strive for their goals, but also to ensure that we're inclusive, because that's what it's all about, inclusivity and diversity. And then going back to the point about the awards, it's that spotlight, as Amy said. If you can shine a spotlight on someone, they become an example, a role model. And then other people go, oh, maybe I can do that. Or maybe it's okay for me to do that.
Yeah.
And again, as large organisations, as senior leaders in large organisations, I feel it's our responsibility to do that, because then we set the example and people can look up and go, oh, well, if she did it, maybe I can.
Absolutely. It's that mirror, I feel like. And I think of, if I go back to, where are we, 2016, when I set the awards up, I set them up completely and totally focused on encouraging people to high five their achievements.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes you think, I'm not going to win. It's not for me. You've talked about some of your colleagues being nominated. It's a very robust judging process.
It's tough.
It's not, we
It's
never
tough.
say it's not all the flaky women
No,
out there.
absolutely not.
You get nominated, then you have to fill the answers in, then it goes to judges round one, then another round. It's quite tough, isn't it? But I'm proud of that. And sometimes I think, have we over-engineered it too much? There's too many layers to it. But I feel like there's a real part of the whole process is almost a bit of catharticness. I've made that word up. Please forgive me right now.
Yeah, it's a good word. It can go in the NPW dictionary.
But there's something in that about when people come back to you and say, gosh, just knowing that someone thought enough to put their fingers to a keyboard or to do a voice memo, to do an audio nomination, whatever it may be, just it means a lot.
Yeah.
And that for me sometimes is what the difference is of having that recognition and celebration.
Absolutely right. And it shouldn't be easy, because making change isn't easy. Like it's a tough job. It takes grit and determinations. You have amazing days where I finish work and I think I've did something good today. There'll be some days where I finish work and say, not sure what I did today. But I think that's reflected in the awards and the process, Simone, because it should be rigorous. It should be also an opportunity to write down every good thing about these amazing people that are getting on the shortlists and winning.
Absolutely. It
is amazing. And I think what's important also is that sometimes it's not just one big thing that someone does. It's lots of little changes that actually in the end mean something phenomenal. And I think, and I'm generalising here, but sometimes as women, we say, it's just my job. That's just what I do.
Yeah.
And we're really good at playing down what we've done. And actually, I think having that rigorous process and then having the finalists and the winners actually says, you might think it's small, but it really isn't. And you've been sort of put through this test of being nominated and then being chosen as a finalist or even a winner. That really means something.
Yeah. And it's the dreaded word just.
Yes.
We'll do it. Oh, I just did that. Oh, I just did this deal, or I just spoke in front of this amount of people, or I just did an amazing podcast with We Are Power, whatever it may be. But we have to find and replace just with especially.
Yes.
Because we need to be kind to us. So what are you looking forward to about this year? Every year I always like to think our awards are quite intentional in title, and we'll always go back and think, are these the right titles? Are we able to celebrate everyone from grassroots to entrepreneurs to trailblazers to leaders? Can we try and represent and unearth all those role models? So we've got a new category this year, which is Empowerment Champion.
Yeah.
Those people who are just, that's what they do. They're not mentoring, but they're just empowering. They're creating that small little things that will empower people. We've created inclusive innovation into a people focus this year, and also a tech for good focus, and then person with purpose, which is always been the hardest category, like 200 nominations at the 1600.
Wow.
Come from that, but we've broken it down into public service because we want to look and find our academics, our military, our firefighters, our NHS. We want to find all of those individuals and their stories, and then charity CIC. So we want to find, and then we've also got this year for the first year, our public spotlight. So we've got Mel B, Scary Spice. Can't believe people ask me.
Amazing.
Yeah. Because, we've got Vicky Pattison, we've got Jane Couch, the boxer, we've got Tanny Gray-Thompson, we've got Molly McCann, and Dame Sarah Story.
Outstanding and well remembered.
I know. Well, there was my Rolodex in my head, and that's where I should write things down. But the whole idea is, what are people doing outside? You've got that public spotlight. We talked about using your power for good. What are they using? So that's exciting as well. It's a different world for us. We've never sort of gone into that celebrity world, but these are people that are using that either influence status or celebrity status for good. So that's new for this year as well. So we're excited to see sort of what that can empower and enable, because we know the power of that influencers can be quite key out there, isn't it? So who knows what that might unlock as well. So what are you looking forward to?
Oh, well, the new categories now that you've talked about them.
I won't ask you to remember them all. It's not like
Go. I think we should.
I'll leave that to you. Look, every time I've attended the awards, even the virtual ones, I finish the evening feeling like an energy, an inspiration of what can I do next. I also feel a bit humbled because I think some of the things that people achieve are really quite amazing. So what am I looking forward to? I'm looking forward to being inspired. I'm looking forward to hearing all the stories, because I think that's what it's all about. I'm looking forward to meeting more people that I haven't yet met, being introduced to individuals who are amazing, but who I might not cross paths with in sort of their normal life. And I think I'm this year particularly, I'm really looking forward that Bank of America's a co-sponsor. Yeah. And I can walk around going, we're part of making this happen this year. I mean, Simone, you're the full energy behind it. Let's not get that wrong. But that just is going to make me feel just that bit prouder being there.
Oh, I completely echo that. I think the partnership between Barclays and Bank of America being co-headline sponsors, I think, is an absolute magic moment for me this year, as well as all the new awards and the new stories and sort of the feeling energised, inspired and in awe of what our people out in the North are doing. I think for me, it's the force multiplier of who's on the future list, who's on the power list and who's on the advocacy list. Because that is like a load more people in the North with a badge that are going to be the future talent driving forward the agenda that we're all getting behind. The power women who were there as the role models and the sponsors helping our future list thrive, and our new allies that are there to help us all work towards a more balanced and equitable society.
Absolutely. I cannot wait. 6th of March. It better be in your diary. Otherwise,
absolutely
we're in trouble, aren't we?
It has been for a while.
I feel like we need to convene a time and a date for our happy dance on the purple carpet.
We absolutely will.
I have no dance moves at all, so I will literally
We'll start it. We'll figure out a way.
We were good. But Iwona, Amy, thank you so much. Thank you for everything you've done to enable and support us and help us grow, help us do more, reach more, change our bit of the world and beyond. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you on the 6th of March.
See you on the 6th.
See you then.
Subscribe on YouTube, Apple, Amazon Music, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a review or follow us on socials. We are power_net on Insta, TikTok and Twitter, or we are power on LinkedIn, Facebook, and we are _power on YouTube.